to Re Tsene with Pretoria Psychologists, your favorite psychoeducation platform, where we aim to bring you credible and researched information from professionals in various walks in the mental health spaces. Also, just as a reminder, our practice, Pretoria Psychologists, has expanded its services to Ndala-Magoro, so you can find us at Centre de la Vie, or just go to our website on www.pretoriapsychologists.co.za to find out more information on how you can make an appointment with us over there in the 013 land. So, as I mentioned in the past month, October has been earmarked to be a mental health awareness month, especially a day such as Mental Wellness Day, which is on the 10th of October. What does the day like this mean? It just means that we are advocating and also bringing a wider awareness on mental health issues, and also just demystifying and dispelling the stigmas that are around mental health issues. The theme for this year, I think more or less similar to the one that was last year and the year before, it's working together towards a better access. And on this platform, that's what we are exactly doing, to give you access to information, resources that can help you through the journey, whether you are suffering a mental health illness or a loved one or somebody that is close to you, so that you can be able to identify a thing or two. Yes, this does not necessarily constitute as a full diagnosis, as a professional will be needed to assess if somebody qualifies with the criteria specific to a particular mental health illness, but you will be able to note and notice certain behaviors and patterns in listening to various topics that we have discussed in this platform. Statistics show us that 26% of American adults live with mental health issues. The World Health Organizations also tell us that 1 in 5 adults or people in the world suffer from mental health issues. Also, the same stats tell us that 20% of children and adolescents suffer from mental health issues. So this is not something that we can take lightly, as the statistics are very hard. I know sometimes people will be shocked in saying, but why will we say 20% of children? What do children go through? What is their plight, or what is their stressors? They are not burdened with this life. The environment that the children grow up in, they can be the triggers to whatever they are feeling. Actually, I was recently seeing a family, about a week or so to be exact, where I identified that the person that they had asked me to see or to intervene with, this is a particular member of the family, it's actually a symptom of what is happening in the system, because what likely happens is that there's a dysfunction in the whole system, and that dysfunction is carried by 1 or 2 people or 2 members of the family, and that we call an identified patient. And that is usually the person that they will bring to therapy to say, okay, help them out, they are dealing with this. And the same person, actually, a 14-year-old tried to commit suicide about a Sunday or 2 ago. And the father was quite adamant to say, no, this was all an act, they are trying to manipulate us and so on. I say, well, I'm not a big advocate of saying that when somebody attempts suicide, they are trying to manipulate a person. But granted, let's say it was manipulation. Why will they want to manipulate you? Why will they want to manipulate the family into thinking that they are suicidal? What are they crying out for? What attention are they looking for that they are not finding in normal ways of expressing themselves or speaking? What is happening in the system? And we were able to identify a lot of dysfunction that was happening in that family, where now we'll need to move into a family to intervene with the whole family, because we need to now work with the system, as we have identified that this person, this individual that they had brought to therapy, was actually an identified patient, not necessarily the only person that is going through that, but it was the way of actually being symptomatic through what is happening or the illness that is happening in the system. With that, I remember also, I think it was a month or so ago, I was on a radio talk show, and the topic was around healing inner wounds. And I remember the presenter was talking about the scars being invisible. And I actually responded and say, I don't think it's necessarily that the scars are invisible of emotional or mental health. It's because we are unable to identify the scars. That is why we think they are inner wounds or that we think they are invisible. I said, for example, if somebody has been rejected or abandoned, most likely they will end up acting in a way where they are feeling unworthy, unloved, unwanted, or asking themselves questions such as, and this was a recent client who said, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me that my daddy left me? What's wrong with me that my mommy left me? What's wrong with me that my child died, abandoned me? I feel like I'm unloved. And in that way, then it means the person will believe that they are unworthy and they will act in a way that they are unworthy. So if they've got certain potential, they will not act out full potential because they feel they are worthless, they are not loved. And so what's the use of actually actualizing their full potential in the world? So then it is very clear that even though we say it's inner wounds or scars that cannot be seen, we see it in the behavior day to day. Somebody who has gone through a traumatic experience might go around the world being hyperly very much paranoid, which then influences their behavior in being suspicious of everything. So they suspect everybody around every corner, around every bush, so people are untrustworthy. They are unable to form very close relations and very close bonds because of that paranoia, because of the trauma that they have experienced prior. So this is just an evidence or a case that I'm making that yes, we can say it's inner wounds or scars that cannot be seen, but in the behavior, if we notice, if we know how it plays out, then we are able to see that no, actually the evidence is there on our day-to-day. As I conclude this segment today, I also want to conclude with a conversation that I recently had with somebody around why is stigma in mental health issues still so prevalent? And I said, well, I think if we can help people to realize that mental health is just as important as physical health. Just like you will go for your physical checkups or your routine physical checkup, or when your tooth is aching, you will go to a dentist. People are, if we can normalize it like that, then maybe the stigma will be dispelled. And the person actually responded to me and saying, actually, I think that in that notion, we are minimizing the impact of mental health. And the example was, if I have a chronic illness and we'll take diabetes, for example, and I have a gangrene on my leg, and then my leg becomes amputated, I will still function on a day-to-day with the rest of my body. So my thoughts, my heart pumping, my eyes seeing, and every other part of my body. But if my mental health was to be severely affected, it will be, I will not be productive in life. I will not be functional. The relationships will be disrupted. And so, by the way, he was saying that as much as we are trying to equate or trying to demystify mental health and equate it to physical health, it's actually much more serious than physical health. Well, do I agree with him or not? I am not sure about that, but I could actually hear his argument in putting it forward to say, when you have an ailment in your body, you can still function one way or another depending on the severity. But with mental health issues that are not corrected, or that are not attended, or that are not treated, where there's no intervention, a person cannot function. With that, this little small scaftini for the week, I'm hoping that as we celebrate Mental Health Day on the 10th of October, we can all in our corners, as you are listening, as a somebody who is tuning in, to pass the information to a loved one and help them out to reach out for help. Throughout the whole month, we are going to be dishing out information on where to access free services, where to access support system, so that you don't feel like you are alone in your struggle or supporting a loved one going through mental health illnesses. With that, it's myself, Ndala-Magoro, signing out. See you again in the next time.